680 News Time, 6:19. This just into 680 News. Shots have been fired downtown. We understand a police officer has been hurt. Let's go live to 680's Carl Hansky for the very latest. Carl, what can you tell us?
Good morning, Paulie. I've been told an officer has received very serious injuries after a confrontation and possibly shots fired with a possible stolen plow in the Avenue Road and Davenport Road area of downtown. I'm told the officer is unconscious. He's being rushed to hospital right now. I don't know if there's an actual snow plow or one of those pickups with the plow up on the front. I'm not sure. This is just happening now, but if you're near Avenue Road and Davenport area, avoid the area and keep an eye out. This is still on the go right now. Reporting live, Carl Hansky, 680 News.
680 News Time, 7:03.
680 News. This is in-depth team coverage.
A Toronto police officer has been badly injured after being hit by what police say was a stolen vehicle with a snowplow on the front. It happened in the Avenue Road and Davenport area.
680's Carl Hansky joins us live from the scene with the latest. Carl?
Marlene, I'm here at Avenue right at Davenport. There are police cruisers and police officers everywhere. The north side of Avenue Road is completely shut down, and there's an area I'm looking in the middle of the road that is covered with a tarp hoisted up by some pylons, and I'm wondering if that is the spot where the officer was struck. Now, this is what I'm told. It appears that a plow may have been stolen this morning, and the person who stole the plow may have been going around ramming into some vehicles. Looks like the officer confronted the plow here, got out of his cruiser, and was struck by the plow in the head, I'm told. He was rushed to hospital, the officer, with no vital signs and haven't been given an update yet. Now, I'm also told that there are some shell casings on the ground here, so it appears that the officer may have opened fire at this plow. That has since left the scene. Police are still searching for the plow, following around. We're told that it is a white plow. It's got a plow in the front and a sander on the back, and the letters TOLLAIS on the side. And so if you see it, please get out of the way. Reporting live at Avenue Road in Davenport, Carl Hansky, 680 News.
680 News Time, 7:04. Now, the officer has been taken to St. Michael's Hospital downtown for treatment. We continue our team coverage with 680's John Stahl, who joins us live from outside the hospital at Victoria and Queen. And, John, we've been told that Chief Blair is at the scene now. Have you seen him yet?
Yeah, that's right. He just walked by us, Paul, about 7 minutes ago. He was walking very briskly with one aide. He pulled up very quickly. He is now inside the emergency unit. There are about half a dozen officers inside the emergency unit. They have no information for us at the moment, keeping us outside. There are about 6 or 7 police cruisers on the north side of the street. We are told by witnesses that the officer was brought in about 35 to 40 minutes ago. He was on a stretcher, and he was receiving treatment by paramedics very aggressively. As it was described to me, they were pumping him like mad. So he's in there at the moment. We have no indication of his condition at this hour, but Chief Blair is inside. Reporting live from St. Mike's, John Stahl, 680 News.
Breaking news on the police officer injured at Davenport and Avenue Road this morning. Let's go live to 680's Carl Hansky for an update. Carl, what can you tell us?
Well, the update I have is that police may have come up with and possibly shot the person driving this stolen plow. This, I'm told, just happened in the Kiel and Bloor area just now. This after an officer was severely injured early this morning while trying to stop that plow that was on a rampage at Avenue Road in Davenport. I have a complete story at the bottom of the hour. Reporting live, Carl Hansky, 680 News.
It's just into 680 News. We go live to St. Michael's Hospital and 680's John Stahl. John?
Well, my name, the suspect that was involved in the incident earlier that created the situation where the officer has been brought to St. Michael's is now himself being rushed into the emergency room. They just pulled up about 30 seconds ago. As you can hear the sirens in the background, I am watching a suspect which we believe has been shot by police earlier within the hour. There are paramedics all around. This is the EMS unit that has just arrived there. Chief Blair is inside the emergency unit himself, has not emerged yet to let us know what the condition of the officer rushed here prior to 7 o'clock is at the moment. But the door is just opening here as I described the arrival of the suspect, who we understand was shot by police within the last hour or so. They're just carrying him out on a stretcher. Heavy police presence here and security. You can hear the sirens in the background. I can't get a good view of his condition at the moment, but there he goes into the emergency unit. That is the second emergency here within the last hour. Reporting live from outside St. Michael's Hospital, John Stahl, 680 News.
680 News Time, 9:03.
680 News. This is in-depth team coverage.
A Toronto police officer rushed to hospital after being hit by a stolen snowplow early this morning, has reportedly died. The CBC reporting that this morning. The alleged driver of the truck is also in hospital and now under arrest after being shot by police. The Special Investigations Unit is now on the case.
We're going to have more from St. Michael's Hospital. We're expecting an update from Police Chief Bill Blair coming up, but we begin our in-depth team coverage with 680's Carl Hansky, who joins us live from where the arrest was made on Keele, south of Dundas. Carl?
Marlene, it was here on Keele Street near Annette where the stolen snowplow's path of destruction ended in a hail of police bullets. Paulo was driving one of at least 3 vehicles rammed by the plow just on this street as it played a game of bumper cars.
In the middle of the road driving down, I seen him hit a car in front of me. Once he hit the car in front of me, I knew that, something was wrong, so I swerved out of the way, and then that's when he hit my car. He would have hit me head on if I didn't swerve out of the way.
And then he hit a garbage truck head on.
And he hit a garbage truck head on.
And then police opened fire.
And that's when police opened fire on him. Wow. Insane.
The suspect was shot several times and rushed to hospital. This all started around 5:30 this morning when the plow was stolen downtown and began ramming vehicles there before it ran into a police officer at Avenue Road in Bloor who was in the road trying to get the plow to stop. The officer, fearing for his life, fired shots at the plow, which struck the officer, then just kept going. Reporting live on Keele Street near Annette, Carl Hansky, 680 News.
680 News Time, 9:05. We continue our team coverage of Officer Down with 680's John Stahl joining us live from St. Michael's Hospital where Chief Blair is as well. And John, we're getting the grim news, the report coming up from the CBC this morning that the officer has in fact died.
Paul, we have no official word from Chief Blair on that at the moment. We still expect a statement any time. He has been in the emergency ward since shortly after 7. The suspect arrived by ambulance about 10 minutes to 8 this morning. We are told, of course, that the officer who was rushed early this morning arrived here with no vital signs, and witnesses who were outside the emergency station did report that the paramedics were working very aggressively on him when he was admitted into hospital. The way it was described to me by a witness was he was being pumped very, very hard. So if that report is true, it'll certainly probably be confirmed by Police Chief Blair, who is joined by Union Chief Mike McCormick here at the emergency unit. Reporting live from St. Michael's Hospital, John Stahl, 680 News.
680 News Time, 9:06. Now, the general manager of the snowplow company involved in this played a major role in tracking down the stolen vehicle this morning. 680 Charlene Close spoke to him.
Tolius landscaping boss Richard Arrows tells me 2 operators were clearing a lot in the Regent Park area, specifically at 1 Cole Street in the Dundas and Parliament area. He says they were out of the truck when the suspect, apparently not wearing any shoes, jumped inside and put it in drive. He says all of the company's equipment has a pinpoint GPS system.
So I was in communication with the police, giving them updates on his exact location every few minutes. And from what I understand, he was just driving erratically and smashing into vehicles very, very recklessly.
He says it's normal for his plow operators to keep the rigs running, even when they've stepped outside of them. Charlene Close, 680 News.
This just into 680 News. We go live for an update from Chief Bill Blair, courtesy of CTV Newsnet.
Sergeant Ryan has been apprehended and is in custody. This is a very tragic day for the City of Toronto and for the Toronto Police Service. I would ask respectfully that the media respect the privacy of the family at this very, very sad and tragic time. Again, thank you for being here.
You're listening to live coverage of Police Chief Bill Blair confirming that Sergeant Ryan, 35 years of age, has been killed in the snowplow accident in the west end of the city of Toronto. That was a stolen truck with a snowplow attachment. The police officer has been an officer for 11 years. He is married with a small child. This is 680 News.
680 News Time, 103.
The police chief is calling it a tragic day for the city and the police service. A Toronto police officer was killed in the line of duty today while trying to stop the driver of a stolen snowplow in the west end of the city.
The officer was hit at Avenue Road in Davenport, and the suspect was finally stopped on Keele, south of Dundas. We begin our in-depth team coverage with 680's Irene Precklett at St. Michael's Hospital, where Police Chief Bill Blair delivered the grim news.
Looking somber and drained, Chief Bill Blair calls this the worst of days, announcing that 35-year-old Sergeant Ryan Russell had died from his injuries.
Talked to the men and women who worked with this guy for 10 years, and he's a fine police officer and a great servant to the people of Toronto. He's doing his job.
Sergeant Russell was an 11-year veteran of the force. He was married with a young son. Michael McCormick is president of the Toronto Police Association and calls today a nightmare.
We go out every day and we put it on the line. And this is what can happen, and we all know it. It's the ultimate sacrifice that he has made.
We're told Sergeant Russell's father was also a police officer. Reporting from St. Michael's Hospital, Irene Precklett, 680 News.
680 News Time 104. Mayor Rob Ford has also issued a statement today in reaction to Sergeant Russell's death. We continue our team coverage now with 680's Colin DeMello, who joins us live from City Hall. Colin?
Brian, flags outside City Hall have been lowered now as the mayor calls Sergeant Russell a shining example of the men and women on the police force. And like many here, Councillor Josh Matlow's thoughts are with the family.
It's a tragic day when we lose an officer, especially in the line of duty, and I think everyone on council, and I know the mayor, everyone is thinking about his family and the entire service today.
At least one meeting here was paused for a minute of silence. Councillor Denzel Menon Wong says this is a reminder of the risks officers face.
He made the greatest sacrifice that he could, and we're all grateful for the police and very sorry for what happened today.
The mayor says Sergeant Russell's bravery and service to the city of Toronto will always be remembered. Reporting live at City Hall, Colin DeMello, 680 News.
680 News Time 105. Premier Dalton McGuinty also expressing sympathy to the family, friends, and colleagues of Sergeant Ryan Russell. In a statement, McGuinty calls Russell's death a grim reminder that we should never take the dangers of policing for granted.
Hearts are heavy across Toronto as the death of a police officer leaves a young woman without a husband and a little boy without a dad. Sergeant Russell Williams died in hospital this morning after being run down by a stolen snowplow.
Somber Mayor Ford has extended his condolences. We'll have a report in a moment, but we begin our in-depth team coverage with 680's Kevin Meisner, who joins us from police headquarters, where Chief Bill Blair is the latest to make a statement.
The chief spoke with Sergeant Ryan Russell's fellow officers at 52 Division and says they are devastated. He says Toronto has lost a hero, but Sergeant Russell's murder leaves a far deeper loss for his family.
Today, we have seen the price that some have to pay, and I think it's important for us to go home and hug our kids because there's a little boy who doesn't have a father.
The officer leaves his wife and 2-year-old son. Craig Peddle worked with Ryan Russell in the Guns and Gangs unit.
Ryan was madly in love then with his fiancée and now wife. He spoke about his family all the time. The father that he was, I know. It truly is a great tragedy.
Funeral arrangements will likely be announced later in the week. At police headquarters, Kevin Meisner, 680 News.
We continue our in-depth team coverage with 680's Colin DeMello at City Hall, where an emotional Mayor Ford addressed the media.
Extending his condolences to Sergeant Ryan Russell's family, Mayor Ford hailed the fallen officer.
Sergeant Russell is a shining example of the men and women of our police service who put their lives on the line every day to protect us.
Like many councillors here, Josh Matlow's thoughts are with the family.
It's just incredibly tragic.
At least one meeting was put on hold for a moment of silence where Councillor Norm Kelly reflected.
It brings forcefully to your attention the serendipitous nature of life.
Flags at City Hall and all Toronto civic centres have been lowered to honour Sergeant Russell. At City Hall, Colin DeMello, 680 News.
680 News Time 7:02.
Toronto is a city in mourning as plans are made for the first funeral for a fallen police officer in the city in 9 years. Flags across the city fly at half-mast for Sergeant Ryan Russell.
More is being learned about the suspect in this police homicide, who remains in St. Michael's Hospital. 680's Carl Hansky joins us live from the scene of the tragedy on Avenue Road near Davenport with the latest this morning. Carl?
And people can now drive over and walk past the exact spot where Sergeant Ryan Russell was struck and killed here on Avenue Road yesterday morning, where one caring person has tied a bouquet of flowers around a pole. This passerby says Sergeant Russell died a hero.
We've got officers out there protecting us, putting up their lives for us. I mean, it's crazy. It's just nuts. I mean, a man with a 2-year-old child.
Police haven't released the name of the suspect shot and wounded, but he could be a barefoot homeless man seen recently at a downtown shelter. Sources tell the Toronto Sun that when the stolen snowplow came charging at Sergeant Russell, he tried to jump out of the way but slipped in the snow and was then crushed up against his cruiser. Reporting live at Avenue Road in Davenport, Carl Hansky, 680 News.
680 News Time, 11:33.
Breaking news from police headquarters and the latest on the death of a Toronto sergeant. Several charges have now been laid against a man who was arrested after Ryan Russell was fatally wounded yesterday morning at Avenue Road in Davenport.
680's Colin DeMello joins us live with the latest from Chief Bill Blair. Colin?
Brian, 44-year-old Richard Kashkar is still in hospital with the 2 gunshot wounds he suffered during the incident. But a day after the death of Sergeant Ryan Russell, Toronto Police Chief Bill Blair announced the charges against the homeless man.
I would wish to advise you that as a result of that investigation, a male has been charged with the first-degree murder of Sergeant Russell and 2 counts of attempted murder.
Now, the circumstances surrounding the 2 attempted murder charges are unclear. However, we do know that a Toronto police officer was slightly injured yesterday. Here at Toronto Police Headquarters, there is a memorial book to Sergeant Russell and his family that many people have been coming into and steadily signing. One man left a note just saying that his son was a police officer and just writing the words Godspeed beside his name. Putting live at Toronto Police Headquarters, Colin DeMello, 680 News.
680 News Time, 8:03.
It is a day for the city, for the province, and the country to honor. To honor all those who risk their lives every day to keep us safe, but in particular to remember Sergeant Ryan Russell, a young father and husband who lost his life in the line of duty.
Even if you can't attend the funeral service at the Metro Convention Centre, we'll tell you how you can watch the proceedings live in just a moment. But we begin with 680's Carl Hansky, who is downtown right now, where the service is going to take place this afternoon. Carl?
Marlene, buses full of police officers have already started dropping off here at the Metro Convention Center. But when the funeral procession for Sergeant Ryan Russell begins its somber journey down University Avenue to here at the Metro Convention Center later this morning, thousands of people will be lining the streets, from police officers from across North America, fire crews, paramedics, even downtown workers like this bank employee who plan to fill the sidewalks as the procession passes by.
Just to pay my respect, because, this affects everybody. It affects me, it affects everyone, all of us.
And to say thank you to Sergeant Russell?
That's right.
Now, the funeral procession will gather at University Avenue in Dundas about an hour from now, 9 o'clock. It will begin at 11 o'clock and go south on University to Wellington, west on Wellington to Lower Simcoe, before turning south again down to Bremner, and here at the Convention Center, expect major traffic delays. Reporting live outside the Metro Toronto Convention Center, Carl Hansky, 680 News.
680 News Time, 8:04. The lengthy service is expected to be a heart-wrenching, emotional one. We continue our coverage with 680's Jamie Pulfer, who joins us live. Jamie.
Well, Paul, this could be the biggest police funeral this city has ever seen, with enough room for 10,000 people inside the convention center. This 2-hour service is set to begin at 1 o'clock this afternoon. There will be many moving tributes, one of the most emotional from Christine Russell, who will speak publicly for the first time since her husband's tragic death almost a week ago. The service will be full of police tradition, and it will end with Police Chief Bill Blair presenting Sergeant Russell's cap and a Toronto Police Service flag to his family before the final prayer is read and the final salute is given. The doors to the convention center will open at 10 a.m. Seating for the public is limited. Now, the service will also be streamed live on 680news.com and will also be broadcast on the big screen outside the ACC and at Yonge Dundas Square. Reporting live, Jamie Pulfer, 680 News.
The man charged with the murder of Sergeant Ryan Russell is out of hospital now. Police telling 680 News he is now being held at the detention center in Milton and will make his next court appearance Friday. 44-year-old Richard Kashkar is charged with first-degree murder and 2 counts of attempted murder.
Listeners are leaving their condolences on our website, 680news.com. There are more than 150 comments, and many have offered personal messages for the young officer's widow, Christine. Caitlin writes, I am so sorry you had to deal with horrible tragedy. I really hope that God watches over you. Maya says, as the proud mother of a police officer and the grandmother of a precious 2-year-old grandson, my heart aches for Sergeant Ryan Russell's family. I can't imagine the heartache Mrs. Russell is now facing, raising that little boy without his father by her side. And Georgina writes, To think I was safely sleeping less than 300 meters away from Sergeant Russell's heroic efforts is hard to explain. I feel so grateful, so blessed to know I feel comfortable enough to go to sleep each night knowing that these heroic strangers can allow me to feel safe. They are my angels, my heroes.
680 News Time 11:32.
The dreary weather seems to mirror the feelings of so many people in the city today as family, friends, and strangers by the thousands paid tribute to Sergeant Ryan Russell. A sea of police and emergency personnel uniforms is making its way down University Avenue this hour.
The procession is being watched by hundreds of people who are on the sidewalk, leaving their jobs for a few minutes to watch this awesome and somber sight. 680's Colin DeMello is live at University and Queen. Colin.
Richard, you can see many people still in their business attire here stopping. They've got briefcases with them, taking and pausing a few moments just to watch this. Many of them who can't see are standing on their tippy toes just to get a better view. Right now, we are at University and Queen, as you said, standing beside a Canadian flag, which has been lowered to half-mast for Sergeant Ryan Russell. The officers have stopped, and they have split now as a procession will make its way down the middle. But we have officers from all over the country here, from every corner of the country, as well as from the United States. I can see flags from the American side of the border, as well as flags from all over Canada here to support this contingent of police officers. What is odd, or I should say solemn, is the silence here. The 8,000 officers not uttering a single word, not looking away from the procession. The only sound one can hear here is the gentle swishing of their uniforms as they march. And the thousands of people here standing on either sidewalk along University Avenue, just as silent, not wanting to utter a word because many of them are standing in attention, just taking this all in. Allison actually brought her 8-year-old son, who's wearing a Toronto Police ball cap.
He's wearing it because we've always had a really good relationship with the police of the city and the Peel region, New York region. I work with a lot of charities. The police are always involved, and we have a great, great relationship with them. So
at this point, the march is still, it is quite long, so it'll take a while to get down to the Metro Convention Center. It will go south on University Avenue, then turn onto Wellington, head west to Simcoe, then head south on Simcoe, going down to the Metro Convention Center. Reporting live along University Avenue and Queen, Colin DeMello, 680 News.
And 680 Charlene Close is talking to members of the police and emergency services community as they honor one of their own today.
Left, right, left, right, left.
There's no clear evidence of the solidarity that is law enforcement family than this. Shoulder flashes from coast to coast, Nova Scotia, BC, Alberta, Sudbury, right across the GTA as well. We have firefighters, EMS officials, conservation officers, everyone. Sergeant Nathan Cartridge is with the Alberta Sheriff's Department, and he knows all too well the grief people here are feeling today.
I lost one of my friends, a member on the RCMP that I worked with in a traffic collision. And that was hard. I know that feeling. I know that loss. So I felt it was important to be here.
Toronto police officers and the civilian staff are all wearing pins, blue and black ribbons and pins on them that read Heroes in Life, Not Death. On University at College, Charlene Close, 680 News.
And we continue our coverage now of the funeral of Sergeant Ryan Russell live with 680's Kevin Meisner, who joins us from outside of the Metro Toronto Convention Center, where this afternoon service is being held. Kevin.
And there was actually a lineup of about 50 to 75 members of the public here outside the Metro Toronto Convention Center South building before the doors were opened at 10 o'clock this morning. Many of the officers attending actually say this show of public support is very much appreciated. Now, I just had a chance to check downstairs, and the public seating is filling up fast. I'll touch on that in a moment. Now, former Toronto Police Chief David Boothby just made his way inside. He tells me the entire police family and extended family is hurting today.
It's pathetically tragic, the whole thing, and my heart goes out to the families and also to the police families. As I said when I was a chief, when one of ours fall, all of us stumble a little bit.
Now, members of the public are still trickling inside for this service. I had a check on the public seating area. It is about half full, maybe 60% full at this time. I would estimate maybe only about 100 seats remaining. It would appear, however, that the bulk of the majority of the members of the public are choosing to either follow along with this service from home or watch the parade that is happening on University Avenue of the officers. Reporting live, Kevin Meisner, 680 News.
680 News Time, 4:33.
A modern-day hero, a knowledgeable and enthusiastic teacher, an inspiration. Just some of the ways Sergeant Ryan Russell is being described by the family and colleagues who addressed the crowd of 12,000 at the Metro Toronto Convention Centre this afternoon.
680 Shauna Hunt watched the fallen officer's funeral and joins us with the details.
The service began with the sergeant's wife and 2-year-old son walking hand in hand down the red carpet to their seats in front of his flag-draped casket. There was a moment of silence before a reading of the policeman's prayer.
Another day, Lord, to do my work, unsure of what lies ahead.
The sergeant's widow, Christine Russell, put on a brave face as she spoke of their life together.
Thank you for loving us and being a part of all of our lives. I find so much comfort when I look at my little boy, because I've seen so much of Ryan in him.
A close friend of the family then performed an original piece called Ryan's Song.
Wishing you could come home.
Remembering a fallen officer. Shauna Hunt, 680 News.
Mourners are slowly filing out of the Metro Toronto Convention Centre this hour. That's where we find 680's Kevin Meisner.
Sergeant Russell's death in the line of duty has shaken the Toronto Police Service to its core, and the broader police community, evidenced by the thousands of officers who came from right across the continent, is also affected. Now, Sergeant Russell was treated by Toronto EMS paramedics the day he was gravely injured. EMS Chief Bruce Farr tells me this tragedy has hit those paramedics hard.
When you're looking at a uniformed member of the police service, it can have a really terrific impact on you. And they don't think of it, I'm sure, at the time, but afterwards is when we all sit back and reflect, and that's where it can really have an impact on you. And it's a member of the family.
Retired Police Chief David Boothby told me when an officer falls, the rest of the community stumbles a little bit. At the Metro Toronto Convention Centre, Kevin Meisner, 680 News.
680 News Time, 5:33.
Tears fell and hearts broke at the Metro Toronto Convention Centre, where a standing room only crowd gathered to say goodbye to a husband and father killed while serving the city of Toronto. Thousands of police and emergency personnel from across North America joined dignitaries and family in mourning Sergeant Ryan Russell.
680 Shauna Hunt watched the service and joins us with the details.
The sergeant's wife, Christine Russell, had a quiver in her voice as she spoke about her husband and their life together.
We are so honored to have been a part of your life, Ryan. You are our hero.
The sergeant is being remembered as a happy family man and a proud cop. According to the chaplain, Russell always carried a copy of the policeman's prayer.
Another day, Lord, to do my work, unsure of what lies ahead.
And there wasn't a dry eye in the auditorium during a video montage of the officer's life. The family then dedicated the song Let It Be from Ryan to everyone.
Let it be, let it be.
Honoring the life of a fallen officer. Shauna Hunt, 680 News.
Thousands of officers in their best dress uniforms came from across the continent to pay their respects. 680's Kevin Meisner has been talking to mourners as they file out of the convention center, and he joins us live. Kevin.
Well, Catherine, the police officers who attended this service came from right across the country, indeed the continent. Every province was represented by a police officer, along with several American states. Erie County Sheriff's Deputy Gregory Kent tells me he was especially moved by the photo montage during the service of Sergeant Russell with his family.
That was really touching. That really brings to light the things that we sacrifice in this job, or can be sacrificed. There's a wife whose husband's never coming home, and a little boy who's never going to have his dad again because of the actions of one man.
Well, many Toronto police officers who attended this service also had a silent tribute to the fallen officer on their uniforms. They wore two pins. One read, "Hero in life, not in death," and under that pin, another pin that was simply Sergeant Russell's badge number. Reporting live outside the Metro Toronto Convention Centre, Kevin Meisner, 680 News.
Those who couldn't attend the funeral of Sergeant Russell today tuned in at home or on the giant screens outside the Air Canada Centre in Yonge and Dundas. 680's Colin DeMello spoke with those watching the service at Dundas Square.
As Sergeant Russell's hearse passed downtown streets, office workers pressed their noses to the windows to catch a glimpse. Bill decided to put work on hold to salute the sergeant in person.
The whole atmosphere, it's pretty, hits you, you know.
like to come out and, in my own silent way, give my condolences.
People getting off subways at Yonge Dundas Square paused to look up at the funeral on outdoor screens. If not for an appointment, Marie would have been mourning alongside officers at the convention center.
But I'm happy to be able to stand here and give a few minutes of my time out of respect for what they've given up.
And many cried today and talked about the sacrifice Sergeant Russell made for Toronto. Colin DeMello, 680 News.